Hello everybody, we are at Peter Pi number 3. Here is Nicola. Nicola, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Nicola Iarocci from Italy. I'm here to talk about the Eve project, which is basically a REST API framework for Python.
We're in Italy. Italy, quite big country.
Yeah.
From where exactly you are?
I'm from Ravenna, which is a small town on the Adriatic Sea, so on the eastern side of Italy. Just to get your bearings, is like south of Venice. If you know Venice, my hometown is like 200 kilometers below Venice,
nice.
to the south of Venice.
And what are you working on? What is your company?
Yeah, my company is actually working on accounting software solutions for Italian PMIs, so small businesses and stuff like that. And we, of course, have mobile applications and desktop applications in both Windows, iOS, Android, and stuff like that. And we use Python mostly on the web side of things. So for our REST APIs run on Python and stuff like that.
And as I understand, because of a lot of devices and systems you need to handle, you are working a lot on REST APIs, and that's why Eva became the application you found and working on.
It started as an in-house project, a closed source project, and then in 2012 I went to EuroPython to talk about REST APIs and how to write good APIs in Python and MongoDB and stuff like that. And at that talk I got a lot of requests about making my work public, and so I decided to release it as an open source project, and since then it's been enjoying a lot of quite a broad adoption around the world, so I'm very happy with it.
Super. And in fact, you are giving your internal product to the community.
Yes.
And the community is the main topic where we're interviewing on today. Do you have in your city or maybe around the local communities about the Python? How big they are?
Yes. Well, in Italy we have, I would say, a huge Python community. That's also. It helped that for 3 years we ran a EuroPython. We were organizing a EuroPython in Florence, so it's not really my hometown, but in general we have a lot of Pythonistas in Italy. Now in my hometown we don't really have meetups or stuff like that. I know there are Python meetups in Milan, in Rome, in the bigger cities, but not really my hometown.
You was one of the organizers of Italian PyCon?
No, I'm not one of the organizers. I just happened to go and talk at both at the EuroPython when it was held in Italy and at PyCon Italy. In fact, just the last week I was at PyCon Italy in Florence speaking about another project of mine, which is Cerberus.
Nice. And I think in your town there is no meetups, but there is developers. So how they communicate with the other local communities around them in Milan or in Florence, I think. What channels do they use?
The most used channel is probably the Python mailing list. We have a python.it website, which is basically the collector for the communities, Italian communities on Python. So there is a big mailing list there, and everybody working on Python is more or less subscribes to that mailing list. And I suspect there is also a Slack channel, but I'm not really up to speed with it because I don't use Slack myself. I should probably start using it. And the mailing list probably. And and of course on Twitter, everybody follows each other, so we keep chatting on Twitter and stuff like that.
Okay, so in fact it looks like current Italian community is a little bit old school style.
Yeah, that's probably true. Maybe I'm old style, and so I'm not really up to speed. But I believe that you might say that because it depends on the geographical situation in Italy. We are very scattered. There are very small towns, very small villages, and so people doing Python are doing them everywhere in Italy. So it's not like there are big hubs like Milan and Rome, of course, But and Bologna, there is something there. Florence, of course, because they run the PyCon in Italy. Probably the most active city in terms of community is Florence, because of their heritage. They are organizing PyCon every year, so there is a big community there.
Nice. And what do you think about the future of the local communities in the case of using new technologies like Slack, like Facebook or other modern channels? Or you think that the old style things like IRC, mailing list will still be involved in this process and will take their own part of communication?
Well, I think that definitely there is room for new solutions like Slack, for example, or of Facebook. Why not? I also find that programmers are not very keen to, for example, Facebook. Or at least in Italy. Maybe they use Facebook. I use Facebook myself, but not for programming stuff. We tend to use Facebook for personal stuff, friends and stuff like that, generally wasting time on the internet. But I find, just the other day, at PyCon, I had my first Pythonista ask me for my Facebook profile.
No.
It never happened before, so it's not just me probably. Maybe in Italy we don't use Facebook for the community, but for example, we use Twitter a lot, and Slack, they are using Slack. Slack is emerging, kind of emerging as a tool for keeping communities together. So I expect people to transition to Slack, to Facebook, of course, and yeah.
And do you making something community related by yourself or maybe your company?
Yes, well, what I do is not only about Python. I'm the organizer, the runner of the Coder Dojo community in my hometown. Now, Coder Dojo are basically a coding club for kids. Okay. They exist all over the world now. There are about 600 dojos all around the world. They started in Ireland, in Cork, a few years ago. They started getting kids to the school in the afternoon and let them play with the computers, but in a productive way. So get to know how to, make websites, play with HTML or JavaScript or Python. Scratch is from the MIT in Boston, is a very nice tool because kids get to write programs, but they are using graphical interfaces, sprites, and they build games and stuff like that. So it is a way to for the kids who are inclined to using computers, to teach them the basic of programming in a funny way, so that they can network between themselves, get to know each other, and the attempt is also make programming something cool for the kids. In the past, the programmers has always been seen like someone who's, that geek on his desk in the dark, coding some arcane stuff. And we believe that nowadays programming is cool, and kids should embrace our profession with an interest. And so Coder Dojo is both a way to teach programming and to show that programming can be cool. And if you are a kid interested in programming, you are actually cool and not a nerd or a geek or stuff like that.
Yeah. And what is the youngest age for the?
Coder Dojo it depends on the club, on the local club. In our case, we go from 8, 9 up to 16, 17, and so it's a pretty wide range.
Pretty wide, yeah.
Yeah. And we tend to get more kids about between maybe 10 and 13.
Okay.
Which is a nice age because they are, when they go to the high school, they are already doing some programming courses at school. And so while at 10 and 13, they probably just use computer for Facebook or for gaming.
Yeah,
and,
wasting time.
Yeah, wasting time, but in a productive way is okay. We want to show them what else they can do with computers, and most importantly, how computers work and how you can make a computer work for you. So instead of just playing games, learn how to code a game and make your friends play your game.
Yeah, super, super. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Nice to meet you here.
Thank you.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.